You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. I can remember so many times having different ambitions for so many different things and working towards whatever that goal was. And most times, I'm not going to lie, I could think about so many occasions that I wanted to put down my ambitions and think about, am I really on the path to making what I need to have happen? Am I really getting to the point of where I need to be? And just feeling like this is an uphill battle at times. The bigger picture was, though, I knew what I saw on the end result of this vision, of this dream, of this desire, of this goal, whatever it formed itself to be. And I would feed into it and shape it and mold it and look at it. And this is all in the mind's eye now. And slowly just doing the things that would allow it to compartmentalize enough to start materializing. And so many times those moments in between is where you become exhausted. You question what you're doing. You wonder if the working parts of things are going to come together at times. But then you have to evoke your faith in there, because really and truly it's the faith that even created the vision, because it's something that you desire for yourself, but it wasn't in the physical. So at some point you were already operating from the very beginning in the faith of it. But you know how the human condition will sometimes intercede and make you feel like this may not materialize, or maybe I'm working at something that's just not totally there. It's not coming together. Not to say that it doesn't happen. It does. But many a times in the midst of those moments, in the midst of those times, is the test of will of how long will you hold on to your faith and hold on to what you need to hold on to until it manifests. Once you get to the point of having something, don't even know what it is, but just something that you desire it so much, you feel it, you see it, you can taste it. And even though maybe things around it are not shaping up to form itself to look like it's coming forth, but in your spirit, in your being, you know that this is something that you see for yourself, or you see yourself doing, or you see yourself having, you see yourself possessing or interacting within. So what do? You have to hold on until it manifests. Y'all, it's Monday. You know what time it is. Sunday's Monday Motivation. Let's go. No matter the time or the season, we're open and available 24/7. Shouldn't your dealership be too? Carumba.com, the convenient online used vehicle marketplace. Register your independent dealership now. What I've come to find is a lot of times people have now become so accustomed to seeing the social media effect, I'll call it, of people celebrating their moments of achievement, their levels of success. They'll see the glitz, the glam, the financial gains, the bells and whistles, the toys and houses, just all these different materialized things that are being shared from people who have achieved something in some form or fashion. Maybe it doesn't matter really what the underlining is of what they have achieved, but the fact that it's not uncommon for people to be drawn to others who are magnetizing these things that have happened in their life. A lot of times, though, these same people, especially if what they're speaking on is true, they didn't share those moments where they were homeless or hungry or billless, like literally had no money to pay not billless, but didn't have the money to pay the bills that they had, that was overwhelming them. They didn't have a car. Their children didn't have clothes. It can go from end to end. And most times when we do hear these stories, they're the overcoming, the aspect of how they got through. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But what most people don't think about or don't see is the measurement of time, the level of things that they had to go through, the back and forth obstacles, the moments of despair, the aspects that may have had them, in a sense, almost feeling like they had no control of their life. Yet they had this maybe one thing, maybe a few things that kept them drived enough to say, I got to keep going. The survival method may kick in, and it could be something as simple as the next day. Or it could just be a long-term vision that they've had, or a goal, or, I can remember hearing stories of Steve Harvey talking about him sleeping in his car and not having enough money from moment to moment, to night, and things start to slowly open up for him. Tyler Perry speaks on so many videos, so many different times that he put on plays. Nobody attended. He used everything that he had to his last. He slept in his car. He didn't have the support that he'd hoped that he would have from friends or family at times. And he just stayed the course. So, and I'm using those two because those are two that I think about quite a bit for myself. In moments that I might be up against quite a bit, I can, take reverence of these stories, of these circumstances, of these situations. And then there are people I know personally who have had many of those type of, interactions, experiences, and even for myself. I know what it is to go from having things moving and going to dropping and literally losing everything. Almost feeling like you just totally lost yourself. And when you're at that point, it's like there's nothing else to lose. So why not lean all the way in? Because this is where you are, and this is where all you have, and this is all you got. This is it. Ground zero, right? Guys, I think that we have such a magnitude of ability as humans. And metaphysically, we are sometimes, maybe in fleeting moments, in small visions, maybe even little zones. And if you're a person that meditates, if you take the time to give a higher power or the universe or your God or whatever it is that you subscribe as your being or not, you take the time to recognize that there's something more greater that you want for yourself or for your family or for your business. And so you have an inventory moment of where you are, who you are, and how you are. And measuring that to the quintessential of where it is that you're looking to go, most times does not look alike. There can be significant gaps between here and there. There could be miles, years, decades, maybe even an aspect of centuries, that maybe your vision of what it is that you desire to do and be may be something that's so greater than you that it will generationally gap into a whole nother lifetime that does not include you. If you don't know what I'm saying, let's think about some of the many, many, many people who have fed to our society. Einstein, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, Plato, Socrates. I mean, there's just tons of people that have had some intuitiveness, and they worked into, they could provide or elevate the things that were in their brain, the knowledge that they acquired, the things that they discovered about themselves, and contributed to their vision or their journeys in life, right? So can you imagine There's some of the smallest things that you may think about or that you feel, or the things that pit into your stomach, or the things that make you feel uneasy because you're not doing them, or you're not putting forth effort into them, or you put it to the side, or you're like, I can't see myself getting this done because I have so much else in front of me, or so many things in front of me. I've got to tell you that those moments, those feelings, those pushes, those urges, that uncomfortability, a lot of times the higher power and the spirit of things is saying, hey, yo, I know you know that that's right there. And I know you want to do it. So what we doing? Okay, maybe I'm talking to those who may not have had this experience, but I'm just going to tell you from my perspective that I can't begin to tell you how many things, how many times, how many places, how many moments I have had. The level of challenges, the level of things that should have never, ever been an opportunity for me to even be considered. Things that I didn't even have my hand on. And the universe said, here, I'm going to put this person in place and this thing in place, and we're going to put this here. And then the synchronicity starts to happen. And I can remember many times being to my last, and there was some business opportunity or some other opportunity of financial space in place that allowed me to make a change, or just to be in the right place with somebody to do something that met this person, that led to this, that led to the next step, that led to the ultimate opportunity to come forth. I mean, there's not one way of this experience, but when I tell you, it is real. And I decided to talk about holding on until it manifests, because even for myself, even in this moment, I have had to remember that statement. I've had to evoke that statement and allow it to resonate in my spirit and say, God, I need my guidance box. I need my GPS in accordance to where and how I should be. And two, sometimes am I in the space, place, and am I doing the things necessary to better achieve and to be the better person that I know to be in this moment, in this relationship, in this transaction, in this correlation, in this relationship with whomever I'm interacting with in my life. So when those moments and times, and you never know what they look like, you never know how or when those moments can change or fork off into different directions. The thing is, you have to be obedient enough to recognize, one, that you have to ask, right? And that you have to humble yourself enough to know that maybe it ain't just all you, buddy, that gonna make it all go the way you think it's gonna go. And I think a lot of times, society-wise, we get caught up in thinking, oh, yeah, Tyler Perry this, and he did this, and Oprah did this, and this person did that. But if you listen to their conversation, in the midst of their statements, you may hear them say, but God led me, or the Spirit led me, or the universe, or the higher power, or the moment of my internal self made a decision. However you want to acknowledge it, gave me the opportunity to see or to steer me or to put these people in place that allowed me to be able to move forward. And when I tell you, the wonderfulness is almost like Aladdin's carpet, that for a long time, you might have, a long time could be minutes, hours, days, weeks, years, decades. Trust me, there's no measurement in this. The true measurement is preparing yourself and being ready, because it could feel like ever before things start coming. But as soon as the right things start clicking and clacking in place, I tell you, it can move so fast. You feel like you're on Aladdin's carpet. You can feel like your feet are not even under you, because now all of a sudden the right person is showing up. The phone call you needed comes in. Somebody discovers your information, calls you and tells you, hey, I was looking for you and I didn't know it was you, but I knew what I needed. And it appears this is what you provide as an ability for me to get what I need to get. Or I want to collaborate with you. It's a wonderful course when you allow your faith to be evoked, even in the midst of confusion, chaos, or your doubts of yourself. Because a lot of those things can be self-inflicted because we're falling in and out of our faith, or we're not staying in the course of the vision of what we are ultimately trying to get to. And guys, this is not a judgment. This is not a chastising moment, because when I tell you, this is a constant for me, because there's so many things in my life that are in my midst and in my box of desires. So because of that, I've come to recognize for a good majority of my life that things may not be easy for me. It may not come to be the, roll over, here it is on all instances. But sometimes there are things that will come because I prepared myself, or I held on to that vision, or I took inventory of certain things. Maybe even I fumbled the ball. Maybe I totally bombed. Maybe I totally failed at so many levels of things that it made me go back and tweak some things. And a lot of times it's the tweaking of the self that needs to happen versus the external aspect of things. So there's this wonderful crafted quote that I'm looking at that says, if you want to know someone's mind, listen to their words. If you want to know their heart, watch their actions. Because let me tell you something. There are many people that you probably have on your timelines, your phone, your email, that will say, hey, Sonny, I got this thing. This is what I do. We got this service. We got this product. You could take advantage of it. Use it for 14 days. Sign up today. Free trial. I mean, there's something you're getting. There's something that's vying for your attention. There's something that somebody's asking for you to participate in or for you to buy, because we're hyper consumers. So I already know that's not a question. The deal is, are you seeing them be what they say that they're providing to you? Are their actions followed up behind the words of what they're saying? Are they making good on the things that they're telling you to partake in or to be exposed to? And sometimes the answer to that may not be a yes. It may not be a definite yes. It may not be a definite closed-end opportunity. It may be something that you decide, you know what, I'm going to give this a try and see what it does. It may not have much expectation from it, but it could very well be something that you may not recognize that could take you to a whole nother level. The deal is, I think that the word trust becomes a resonated aspect of a bigger part of all of this. You have to be able to better trust yourself. And in trusting yourself, and when I say trust, I mean real trust. I don't mean, oh, yeah, you telling everybody this, and this. No, I'm talking about the quiet moments when it's just you. And there's nobody to impress. There's no one to convince. There's no one to listen to whatever it is that you have to say. But it's you looking at you being with you saying, yo, Bob, Tom, Jerry, Carrie, Mary, and Lulu, nobody has taken on or believed in this or has taken it and stayed with it to the degree in which I hoped it to be. But do I believe enough in it myself? Do I trust myself enough to believe that what I'm telling you or presenting you is enough? Like, I'm going to tell you guys, for me, I come from a significant background of sales, marketing, however you want to describe it. Because at the end of the day, it's funny how people will try to make sales, or a person that does anything that is a consultative or sales perspective, that maybe you're, what's some of the words or terms? Oh, you're a hustler, or you're a opportunist, or you're a slickster, or you're this. Let me tell you what's so funny. Do you realize that no business can be done without a transaction? That nothing is happening. We can sit here and talk. We can send contracts. We can eat food. We can read books. We can have seminars. We can have all of the guru, you knew, I do, what we do. We can have all those discussions. But I promise you, nothing is happening until there's some type of transaction between people, between beings, between entities. There's nothing happening until that is present. Once those transactions, whether it be monetarily, in communication, in action, or whatever it is, you're not doing anything. You're taking up space. You're taking up time. You're measuring. You're stroking. You're vibing. You know, you might be having a whole cipher, right? That's all cool and dandy if that's what you want to do. You can. Nobody's taken away from that. But what does it define to be? Are you really producing something? Are you providing something that is becoming materialized? That's where it's real, right? Not to say that your materialization of things or the level of the things that you're doing has to be at a certain price point, or it has to be equated to be worthy of a certain amount. No, it has to be worthy enough to be what it is that you say that it's going to be. The receiver is going to find the value in what it is that you're giving. Okay? So even for yourself, you have to have the value of whatever it is that you're putting for time and effort into. You have to value it first. You have to give it measurement. Then your vision or whatever it is that you're providing or giving, whether it's platonically, equally transcended, or if it's materialized by something that is able to be given, whether it's product, service, or whatever, you have to be able to then give that to the next person and for them to see the value in it and for them to resonate with it. That allows the fullness of whatever the interaction is to come forth. So I think that when people are, giving the stigma that a salesperson or something like that is trying to get over, it's just foolishness. A lot of times that's a deflection. It could be that they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to entertain you. Maybe they're so preoccupied that they're just not there to listen to you. And it may not be that what you're saying or giving or providing is not worth it, but maybe at that moment they're not there to receive it. But don't ever feel like you need to retreat from somebody because they say that you're a salesperson, or take pride in that, because nothing is happening without somebody providing the availability to it. Okay. Now, as you progress to do the things that you're doing, whether it's small steps, large steps, big steps, little steps, no steps, you still have to have the value system in whatever it is that you're doing. You have to have the belief factor in it, because that is going to be the steadfast ability for whatever it is to continue. Now, I'm not saying that it won't be times that maybe you have to stop, put it to the side. I have done that. Still do it. Maybe, conceptualized it. It wasn't the time for it to get the attention that it needed. Maybe all the resources didn't line up. Prime example, the movie Avatar. I believe it's James Cameron. I'm going to confirm that in a second. But the movie Avatar, the first movie of Avatar, was not given the green light or the attention in the production world for over 25 years. And the reason being is because the vision of that film, the visionary of that film, yes, it is James Cameron. He felt like he could not make this film in the time period in which he wanted to first do it, because he had to let technology catch up to it. And because he needed to have the technology come up to it and cinematically create the movie that he wanted, he waited. That doesn't mean that he didn't work on it, but he did wait until he could see the full vision of what he wanted that film to look like, how he wanted it to create it, and how he wanted it to unfold to the public. I want to say 25 years. So you'll be surprised that a lot of these businesses, companies, inventions, things that we're interacting and engaging with, they may not have been an overnight creation. They have been something that have been imparted in over time. So guys, I'm going to say this because I could ramble on for hours on this, because it is such a prevalent discussion of so many different things that we could touch on that people could relate to. at the end of the day, I want you to recognize just how significant it is and why it's so important for you to hold on until it manifests. And whatever that looks like for you does not mean I'm telling you to monopolize your entire day on whatever this project or vision is, but make sure that you give it what you need to give it in order for it to continue. If it's worth it, if you feel that it's something that the world needs to know about, the world needs to interact with, the world needs to see, or if you just need to do it for yourself, continue to hold on until it manifests. And I promise you, the reward of it at the end will be something that won't even be measurable. And it does not always have to materialize into something in a financial gain. So with that being said, allow what it is that's most important to you to maintain its mainstay. And I promise you, it will give you such a reward beyond measurement. Like I said, continue to journey on and explore these aspects of ourselves and allow it to be the vehicle that takes you to the next step and to the next step. All right, guys, I want to just give you a quick update. For those who have been listening to these Sunday's Monday Motivations, I always want to just tell you, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I want you guys to continue to listen in, share the information. I always invite you to our website to give your feedback, our social media pages to share and give that information and feedback to us. Also, I want to alert you that we have new show segments that are coming, new community partner opportunities that are being presented. This is Autism Month. Yesterday was World Autism Awareness Day, and we were able to share about our new community partner, Anthony's Voice. Very excited about that 4-part series going forth, as well as so many other segments that are coming to Loudmouth Radio. A very special component that I've had in my my little kitty box, The Exceptional and Gifted, a show that is going to highlight some extraordinary people around the world that are doing some amazing things. And those conversations are reflective of how they're changing the world with their gifts, their talents, their business, their minds, whatever it is that they're doing on a day-to-day basis that is giving new essence to the world and those that are able to receive it. So there's so many other shows that are coming in, and I'm so grateful for the ability to be able to share these things with you. And I just want you to remember that for every moment that you take the time to listen to these shows, I am very grateful. And I'm always just, I can't even always times put it into words. Look, I've been talking all day, right? But when I tell you that my gratitude is significant here, I mean, 10 years is a time span that is not to be skipped over. It definitely has been a journey, and we're not going anywhere. We're seemingly just kind of really getting started and really expounding on some of our content. And also another important announcement I needed to make. As of last week, we're now part of the Amazon Music podcast platform. We were sent an invite in the latter part of March from Amazon directly, telling us that they've been aware of our podcast. They want us on their platforms. So we just picked up another 55 million listeners that are on the Amazon platform that can now listen and tune in and subscribe to Loudmouth Radio Network. So when I tell you guys, the conversation today, holding on until it manifests. I can remember in 2011 when I was dealing with the screening room and I had my comedy club in Atlanta area. I remember just having so much appreciation for Rodney Perry's drive. And he was one of the first people that impressed upon me about having my own network and doing my own radio show. He was doing this thing for some time, and I was very, very, very intrigued about it. And I remember just saying that, you know, once I got the screening room up to the point in which I could have it really kind of running and gunning, how I would then ignite the radio segment to layer into the screening room and have these live radio shows. And that was a big part of my vision. And of course, if you know the story a little bit, I did not know initially that I would be recognized as the first Black female to open a comedy club in Georgia, especially in the Metro Atlanta area, and to own and operate as an African American female. And then two, at that time, it was only 4 comedy clubs operating in the U.S. that were Black owned. And so there was a lot of pressure that lived in that situation for me. I'm not one to run from anything like that, but it was a lot of pressure and a lot of grit and a lot of might that it took for me to step out there and to do that. And, after a year and a half of working on that in an area, which was in McDonough, Georgia, about 30 minutes south of Atlanta, in my neighboring area, I decided to have to shut it down just because financially it wasn't making sense. I did not have enough of the financial gain to maintain it. And but I don't take away any of the experience. I was so appreciative of that moment and that journey of time that I had, and the many comedians and patrons and people who came for dinner and for entertainment and got the best of both worlds coming into that space. So I saw my vision materialize. I do remember how I just had to kind of hold on before I could really have truly launched Loudmouth Radio the way I wanted to. And really just kind of getting over the time period of shutting down that business and transcending to the next step with Loudmouth and what that looked like. And being able to come back and put it into existence in the end of 2012 and the beginning of 2013, we launched our first official show on Loudmouth Radio Network on the beginning of January. And so now to sit here and to see that those 10 years have elapsed and how much has come and gone, and to I can remember saying that I wanted Loudmouth Radio to be one of the number one small radio networks, one of the number one independent radio networks that dealt with small business and that, and made major components of society and the community that we're part of and what we want to engage with would recognize us for doing what we're doing. And, I was so grateful. Keisha Waits, who is in Fulton County, one of our political allies stopped and recognized the work of what we were doing as a radio network and presented us to the Georgia State Capitol. And little did we know that we would receive the proclamation from the state and from the governor at the time, recognizing our work in the community and working with the SBA and being a part of the White House opportunities of different programs and tours, financial literacy for small business owners and LGBT, and I mean the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I could just continue to just spark on the moments that we've had, and knowing that this is not what is not the end, it's just the beginning. But just to be able to think about where we've come from to get to this point and where we're headed is just a blessing. So I just wanted to share those announcements, and there will be more things that I'll be sharing. And definitely we're now at the point where we're opening up more opportunities for more media partners. We're always so grateful to have people who believe enough to join in with us and to put their business and their organizations or whatever it is that you're doing into our listening audience, into our podcast platforms, which allows us to be heard around the world. We're on our way to almost 300 million plus listening audiences of availability and accessibility. So that's not a little thing, and we're just so grateful for it. So guys, at the end of the day, thank you for listening to Loudmouth Radio Network and giving us an opportunity to bring the word to you of empowerment, inspiration, entertainment. Until then, check you out later. You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. This episode is sponsored by Loudmouth.com, the number one small business online network. We're putting the word out about small business. put your business on the referral network online that wants to put the word out about you. $30.7 million small businesses in the U.S., creating 1.5 million jobs annually. Small business accounts for 64% of new job creation in the U.S. There's strength in numbers. No matter what we face, know that there's strength in us. Because of you, we're able, we're capable, we're resilient, and we are available because we are small business. And together, we're the economy. You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network,